Hi, I'm Leanne Young, springing forward into your future. A change of season is just around the corner. This is our Vancouver. Coming up, putting the squeeze on snow to find out what's in store. And the scoop on Canada's top gelato. But first, we put all the cards on the table. Are you wondering what's in the cards for you this spring? A job promotion, or maybe a new love interest, or maybe you're just looking for signs of change? Well, we have a treat ahead for you. Nick Criswell has been reading tarot cards for years, and today he brings his witchy skills to our set. So hello, Nick, welcome.
Hello, Leanne.
First of all, tell me a little bit of the origins of tarot cards.
Yeah, so actually the origins of tarot go back to the 1500s. There was this artist that was commissioned to do these art pieces for this royal family in Italy. From there, it didn't really have any esoteric meaning at that point. It wasn't until the 1800s, late 1800s, that this underground divinatory order where they would study the occult came into place. And that's when they developed meanings for these cards, which created the New Age mysticism that we have today.
Very cool. And how did you get into it?
So I've always been spiritual. I grew up in the church, but I never really felt aligned with that kind of way of looking at life. So it wasn't until I moved to Canada in 2018 that I had a reading that said I was going to find the love of my life. And I did within that year. And so I moved to Canada and just started doing it for myself and for other people. And I noticed reactions of people crying. People were angry because it was calling out the truth. And I realized I have something special with this. And I think when I realized I had that power within me is when manifested opportunities came for me. So I ended up working at the biggest crystal store in northern BC. Shout out Sisters Rock and Gem in Prince George. She opened so many doors for me with opportunities to just be able to connect with people on a deeper level. And
okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so each of these decks, they all mean something. They all do different things.
So these tarot decks are actually all the same principle. So the tarot deck is always 78 cards.
Okay.
So you're gonna have 56 minor themes of our life, and then you're gonna have 22 major themes of our life.
Okay.
And the way those are broken down is like, for instance, there's a suit of cups. That has to do with our emotional self. So what fills our cup? What makes us feel whole? It has to do with relationships and being in harmony with relationships. But each suit kind of has a different set to it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, should we take a reading and see what mine says?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, how should we do this?
I think today we're just going to do a past, present, future reading. Just get your feet wet in tarot, because I know you're new to this.
I am.
So I basically will just ask you a number between 1 and 5, and you give me that number.
Okay. So just pick a number then?
Just pick a number.
2.
2? Okay, perfect.
I feel like it's too bright in here. It should be, moodier. Maybe candles.
No, I think this is perfect.
It's good? Okay.
Yeah,
All
makes
right.
it less scary, right, for people, because it really isn't scary. So I just do that to basically bring your energy into the reading.
All right.
All right, and then I'll lay these out.
All right.
And I'll just have you pick 3 and just lay them out 1, 2, 3 there.
Okay.
Oh, keep them over. Sorry. I should have said that.
Should I do that again for Brad?
No, it's okay. You grabbed it already, so I say go with it.
Okay, let's do this. Just you can cut it. Okay, so there are my 3.
Perfect. All right, so we'll close these up here. And the first card here is going to be the past. So what are we seeing in the past here? Ooh, the devil. Okay, let me get rid of a misconception about the devil. People think it's like, oh no, this evil energy is coming for me. But the reality is it's just our addiction to materialism. So like, say we have a handbag addiction, like it could be that.
That's not me.
Am I calling you out right now? It's just anything that keeps us bound to the material world. So it's an opportunity to step into more of your spirituality and connecting to yourself.
Okay.
So that's mainly the theme of that. And this is a big theme card. Like, how I explained there's big themes and minor themes. So this is something that like we've worked through with the past.
Okay, this was pandemic shopping, so we're going to open the next card.
Which, completely fair. I get it. I'm there too. Oh, and then this card it's 3 of Pentacles. So this one is a collaborative card. It's basically the completion of a project. Like we're coming to the end of something and beginning a new opportunity.
Okay, well, that's very trippy because I just wrapped up a pilot project yesterday with a team. So
No way.
there you go.
That's
Yes,
wild.
yes,
Yeah, it's
that
kind of
is
like
wild.
it's kind of like this stoplight going on here. So it's like, here's the green light, finish it up, move on to the next.
Yep, email was hit sent yesterday at 8 p.m. So
Yes. Okay.
wow,
We love this
okay.
alignment, right?
Yeah, yeah. So this is past, present, then future, right?
So this is where this
Okay.
is where the story gets kind of fun because the cards connect. So like the devil, like we got rid of that, maybe those feelings, and we invited this into the energy currently, and that's helping us progress forward. So in the future, let's see what we got here. Ooh, okay. So again, with Pentacles, that has to do with skills, experiences, and opportunities. So here, it's almost like there's so much happening in the physical, I'm feeling, that we need to balance it with our spiritual side. Because it's almost like she's being pulled in two different directions, but we need to put those and coax them towards the same energy.
Okay.
So just taking time to meditate and, light your incense and
Right,
just
right.
connect inward.
Okay, connect inward.
Yeah.
All right, I love that. That is very cool. All right, so Nick, is there anything else you think people should know about, tarot cards when, they're approaching this as a new thing?
Yeah, take your time. It took me years. I'm still learning every day. Like, that's what I love about this craft. It's something you can constantly improve. Don't be scared if you pull the hangman or the devil or death. Like, they really don't have the meanings that we think they do, that Hollywood portrays. Because cinema in the late 1800s really painted a horrible picture of this craft, and that's continued into today. But the reality is, there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
It just helps us heal.
Right. So when people come to you, what kind of questions are they asking typically?
Usually like promotion or like, maybe I'm in a crossroads in life. Usually it's crossroads. It's like, what do I do to move forward? And when they sit down with me at the end, they, 99% of the time they feel aligned and ready to take that next step for themselves. And it just feels good to be a part of that and connect with people on a deeper level.
Okay, very cool. And so Nick, if people want to learn more, where can they find more information?
Well, you can actually book a reading with me at thewitchygay.com. I have 4 different reading offerings on there right now. And if you live in the Vancouver area, I can do a reading in person as well and kind of explain more. I'm actually working on a tarot deck myself right now that I'm photographing. So I'm really excited to launch that later this year.
Okay, well, we're excited to see more from you. Thank you so much, Nick, for coming in today. Appreciate it. Tell me a bit about my future.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Leanne. I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Max, and this is our Vancouver.
The natural beauty of our province continues to inspire so many of you to go outside with your cameras and share your images with us. First, Forrest Lee captured a steamy moment near the famous Gastown clock. And Norm Stack discovered a coyote stuck in an uncomfortable moment near Vanier Park. And finally, Amanda Nelson captured just another day in the life of a waxwing bird near Clinton. Beautiful. Send us more. You can email them to bcphotos@cbc.ca. That's bcphotos@cbc.ca. Coming up, explore tasty treats with the country's top gelato maker. Welcome back to Our Vancouver. I'm Leanne Young. They say that cream always rises to the top. And our next guest has proven this again and again with his tasty creations. He is fresh from a national gelato competition where he won the top spot in Canada. Gelato Maestro James Coleridge is here to show us his award-winning creations. James, so lovely to have you. I cannot wait to try what you've got. First off, tell us about this competition. What did you win?
So thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here with you and the team. What I won was the top gelato maker or master of Canada for 2023, and there was a competition in Toronto where 18 of the top competitors went to Toronto, and they presented their flavors, and then the top 3 out of that competition representing Canada will move on to the next level in Los Angeles, September 2nd and 3rd, and I was fortunate enough to be chosen as the best in Canada,
And this is not your first rodeo. You have won many, many, many competitions, but we're going to talk about that. But first, before the gelato melts, you got to show me what was your award-winning flavor?
So this is called Texas Pecan with an Italian soul. And it really is a balance and a blend of so many different layers, from the salt of Vancouver Island here.
Yep.
Right?
Nice little
We have a
salt.
dark maple syrup from Quebec.
Very, very Canadian.
We have a hickory smoke that we infuse into the milk, which we won't be doing here just because of the amount of smoke it creates. We have a beautiful pecan paste that I make from scratch.
Lovely.
And then we have an Amarena sour cherry sauce. And then we have candied pecans, which I made myself. My son and daughter ate a lot of the samples, but I still have a few here. So that's the Texas pecan with Italian soul.
Okay, and it all blended together into this beauty of a creation
Yeah.
right here.
So it's gonna dance.
Okay.
It's really gonna dance in your palate. It's gonna have salt, sweet, and sour.
Okay.
Right?
And so I gotta
saying
get a little bit-
Yeah,
oh, no,
let me
you want
just
me to
let me
add
just
something
get
else there?
a little pecan there, a little extra Amarena cherry. This is how we did it for the judges in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
So bon appetito, as we say in Italy.
Thank you. Grazie.
Prego.
Okay.
You know, this flavor has just been amazing for me. It took a long time to make it at Casarecchio in Vancouver, in Kitsilano, but we went through a lot of trials to get to this point, to get the balance of the salt, the sweet, and fortunately it turned out. I was
This is
grateful.
Delicious, because there's a little bit of everything in here. And gelato, you know, sometimes people might think it's a little sweet, but it's tart in here. There's a little bit of salt in here, the smoke. It's beautiful.
Yeah, there's no white sugar. Well, I didn't use any sugar in it. I used the maple syrup from Quebec, which is a nice dark amber maple syrup. And I really think that this flavor, as much as it dances on the palate, truly reflects a Canadian theme. The sea salt we have from Vancouver Island and Nova Scotia, the maple syrup from Quebec, and the Italian soul comes from the mascarpone cheese, which makes it creamy.
So creamy.
Yeah.
So what sets a gelato apart from regular ice cream?
Well, ice cream typically has between 22 and 24% fat, so make sure you eat your gelato. And then it's actually served a little bit warmer so it doesn't freeze the palate. And ice cream's denser and creamier, and gelato's denser and creamier, and ice cream tends to be lighter and fluffier.
Right.
So a big cup of ice cream is the same weight as a small cup of gelato because of the amount of air in it. And so you're getting the density of it, but you're not getting the creamy fat stuff that you get from ice cream.
Right, right. Oh, okay. I love that. It's
So
the best of all the worlds.
So it's just being named #1 in Canada and coming from Vancouver. Vancouver's such a great food scene. Really, really big food scene here. There's some amazing chefs in that. And the 18 people that competed across Canada are really reflective of the dynamics of people in Ontario, people in Quebec and Nova Scotia. And it was just a real honor to go to Toronto and compete, even though it's a 2-day competition and my luggage got lost and didn't arrive till the end of the first day. I was kind of like in a challenge environment already, but
It's perfect. It's like reality TV. We should have filmed the whole thing.
it was not. I was very calm about the whole thing, but I really respectful of the competitors across Canada who brought their best, and it was amazing. Some amazing artists in our country, and I was really appreciative of the judges who managed to see this flavor, which will now move on to the North American semifinals in Los Angeles. And this is the flavor that I will take and perfect in the next coming months and take it down to Los Angeles and try and make Canada proud.
Okay, so what are the judges looking for? How were you even inspired to come up with this? Because this is not your regular gelato flavor. This is not pistachio or, you know.
No, so in culinary competitions, it really is about the dance of the palate. It really is about layering and making it move and shift around and all of that. So sometimes the simplest gelatos can be the most difficult to master, but in a competition, you've got to realize that there's competitors who already know how to do that. So how do you go beyond the next level? And so there's quite an extensive point system: texture, flavor, smoothness, temperature, sweetness, presentation, an oral presentation, a visual presentation. It's a massive point system that these 5 judges mark down, and then they add them all up, and then it becomes first, second, and third, move on to the LA, and then the rest are just grateful that they had to compete, and they're proud of their flavor. And they're just amazing artists in Canada. I'm just proud to have competed. I'm just lucky to have became number one.
I need to try this other flavor too. So
Okay,
you've
so
got another one here.
Whatever time you're watching this at, this is tiramisu. So
this is
I'm going to hand you the whole pint. Now this is tiramisu that we make at Casareccio. It has Marcella wine.
Okay, I'm gonna just take a scoop because I want the crew to be able to have
It
some
has
too.
tiramisu in it.
I'm gonna have
It
a
has
big
Kahlua wine, mascarpone cheese. It has great milk and cream from
decadent.
BC. And that. See, that sounds like, okay, words are not enough. I get that. I think.
It's so smooth and delicious. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. My last question. I want to know, what is your secret sauce? Because you have won so many competitions. I can't even name them all at this point. I don't know if you can keep track. What drives you? What is it? What's your secret sauce compared to everybody else in the world?
I've just been blessed. I've been in 9 competitions around the world, and 7 of them I've placed first or second. So, and 2 of them I didn't place. But I have a lot of energy, as you can tell. But my children are truly my inspiration. I am blessed with 2 beautiful children that challenge me all the time, that ask questions all the time, and they never stop wanting me to get better. And I want to get better for them. So they're my first inspiration. The second inspiration is I'm highly competitive, and I like to make things dance, and I like to learn. So for me, my inspiration is always going to be my children, always going to be my family first, and then my fans and followers, because they have supported me over the last 11, 12 years through my journey to get to today. But I'm just so proud to be named #1 in Canada. I really am.
We're very proud of you as well. So we can find the ice cream where?
At Casareccio Foods at Kitsilano at 2480 Vine Street. It is very limited.
Okay.
So if you follow me on Instagram, gelatobyjames.yvr, we will announce the release of it. But I can tell you right now, the lineup starts fast, it moves very fast, and it's not easy to make. So just be patient with us, but
We can't all be as lucky as his kids getting all the ice cream at home. Thank you so much, Maestro James Coleridge, for being with us.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you.
You wouldn't want me if you thought I never had hope.
If you want to see some live music, Canadian Juno nominee Division plays the Commodore Ballroom on March 25th. An alternative rock band from Toronto, July Talk, plays the Commodore Ballroom on March 29th.
Hey, I'm Grant Lawrence from CBC Music, and oh, do I have an awesome musician to share with you this week. Now, I don't know about you, but I love classic sounds that could exist in any decade, from the collision of country, blues, and rockabilly in the 1950s onward. And Ontario musician Cat Clyde has nailed that timeless mystique. Check it out. Oh yeah, that is Cat Clyde with Papa Took My Totems from Cat's new album, Down Rounder. That song, a statement on the ravaging impacts of colonialism, according to Cat. Cat Clyde grew up in Perth County, Ontario, where she learned to play guitar at a young age and cut her teeth busking on the streets of Stratford, Ontario, same hometown as Justin Bieber, trivia fans. Now, Cat Clyde proves that she is nimble as a feline when it comes to diversity in sound, like on this next track with an old school swinging country vibe.
Time it beats to and fro as thoughts of you like April snow linger in my heart so deep that piece of you I always keep. There goes my skin shedding again. I keep walking on a path that never ends.
is Cat Clyde with the super cool song Everywhere I Go from her latest album, Down Rounder, which is the third and the best record of Cat Clyde's career so far. It was recorded in LA in 6 straight days with some great players, and you can just feel the creative energy jump off the grooves. Cat Clyde named the record, as I said, Down Rounder, because she herself has always felt like a rounder, which Cat describes as someone who moves through the landscape looking for answers like the railway hobos, cowboys, and adventurers of yore. You can consider Cat Clyde the musical equivalent.
I lost myself when I found there was nothing left for me to give, for me to live. Oh, strange delight beneath that mystic light, sunk in the ancient night. Take my hand, please help me understand. Help me understand.
That's Cat Clyde, whose wanderings have currently taken Cat to Nashville, Tennessee, where she should fit right in. And that song, Mystic Light, is currently climbing the CBC Music Top 20 right now. Mystic Light by Cat Clyde is a song that you need to add to your best new music playlist. I'm Grant Lawrence, and I'll check in with you again soon.
Coming up, what does the snow know about climate change? Johanna Wagstaffe gets to the core of it. Welcome back to Our Vancouver. I'm Leanne Young. Winter's long and snowy influence in Canada has a lasting impact on our planet. Johanna Wagstaffe tells us what's in store.
You're gonna tell me everything from the beginning. Where are your friends now, huh? We have ways of making you talk. What happens to you matters. It matters to all of us. He's not gonna talk. But that has me wondering, what does the snow know about climate change? Snow, glorious snow. The thing that grabs the most attention when it's in my forecast. The mystery of it, the delight in it, the fear of it. Fascination with the white stuff is especially pronounced in Canada. We are a nation of snow. 65% of our landmass is covered by snow for more than 6 months of the year. But that's changing as our planet warms, and the change is having big consequences. First of all, snow is bright, which means a huge amount of sunlight that hits the snow is reflected back into space instead of warming the earth. But as we lose snow cover, the land becomes darker, the colors of soil or vegetation, which absorbs the sun's energy instead, like wearing a black t-shirt on a hot day. Snow is also like a giant blanket, insulating the soil beneath the snowpack to protect plants and animals from cold winter temperatures. The depth and timing of that winter snow impact the ecosystems hidden below, including for us humans. Many parts of Canada rely on winter snowpacks for drinking water. The accumulation of snow during the winter and subsequent melting in the spring and summer regulate runoff and stream flow. Snow is also vital for hydroelectric power generation, for winter sports, tourism, and travel. And it's a key part of the way of life for many Indigenous people who've depended on snow for their livelihoods for thousands of years. Most of Canada has already experienced a decrease in snow accumulation by a rate of 5 to 10% per decade since the 80s. And we're getting that first snow later and the spring melt earlier. These trends will only accelerate as our planet continues to warm. To learn more about how climate change is impacting our snowpack, we traveled to Strathcona Provincial Park on Vancouver Island to meet up with Bill Floyd, a research hydrologist who spends most of his job outside in the snow. So Bill, big picture, why is snow so important?
I've been thinking about this question, and my whole career I've been thinking about this
Probably.
question. But in the context of today, I mean, we're in an area that the most obvious thing why it's important is because look what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're skiing on it.
Yeah.
And culturally it's really important, right? There's ski industry, there's winter industry, there's all kinds of things that rely on snow. When we zoom out from just our like immediate needs and connection of touching the snow, snow at a big scale is a really important source of water. In terms of drinking water supply or just general water supply, it acts as a storage unit that delays the exit of that water from a system. So in the winter, in high elevation, your snow accumulates and accumulates and accumulates, and then during the spring and summer, it slowly melts. That's the ideal situation, is a slow melt, and it contributes to water that's required for fish, water that's required for people.
Wait, the size of the snowpack also affects animals. Let's go down the rabbit hole.
Southern mountain caribou are a population of woodland caribou known as snow caribou. They're unique in that their huge hooves allow them to float on deep snow to reach arboreal lichen, their main winter food source. These caribou depend on large patches of old-growth forests to survive, especially through tough winters. Industrial development and extraction, primarily logging, have impacted the old-growth forests that these caribou depend on. We've seen this population decline by an alarming 30% in the last 15 years. Snow caribou are well adapted to living in deep snow, and they use this to their advantage by heading to the higher elevations in winter, where they can escape predators, especially wolves. Decreasing amount of snow from climate change limits their access to their main winter food source, lichen found on trees. It also means predators are able to navigate the higher terrain, putting caribou at greater risk. This is doubled with pressure from logging and habitat fragmentation, which leaves caribou vulnerable. Caribou are an important cultural species to people across Canada. They're also considered an indicator species, meaning that they reflect the health of the larger ecosystem. If caribou are declining, it means that the forests and watersheds that we also depend on are in trouble. Protecting the old-growth forest that southern mountain caribou call home is important not just for the survival of the iconic species, but as a natural solution to climate change to help us mitigate and adapt to a changing climate.
Should we go play in it?
Yes. Yes.
Let's get in the snow.
I mean, we can dig in it. We're going to measure it
Let's
today.
dig in it.
So.
Okay.
This is a type of ruler. So by driving this into the ground, you get a snow depth. The other thing is it's hollow.
Yeah.
And it collects a core and a core of snow. So you can take that core of snow, lift it out, and then you weigh it.
Right.
And then that weight tells you basically how heavy that water is, the mass of that water. And from that, you can figure out how much water is stored in the snowpack.
Forecasting snow water equivalent for snow events is one of the hardest parts of my job.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can maybe
Do you usually make bets before you measure how deep it is?
We know how deep it is. The bets are usually like density, like how dense is the snow. So how much does it weigh? I'm gonna say that the density is probably like, I'll say 32%.
Okay.
I may be wrong. So
I'm gonna say 52%.
52%. Okay. So you'll feel it sort of biting into something that doesn't feel like snow.
That's moss.
Yeah.
Dirt. So what do we get?
So we did that density measurement, and I estimated 30%. Johanna estimated 50, and it was 50.1.
I would say beginner's luck, but I'm going to chalk it up to my meteorology skills. This is how we get one measurement in one place. And doing these in enough places, you can get a picture, but in order to get a bigger picture, you use other tools, right? Like weather stations.
Definitely. So we use weather stations, which tell us, they don't necessarily give us more spatial representation as something like this. So we could measure this whole opening, take 50 of these measurements, which will describe this really well. The weather station is essentially only going to be describing a relatively small footprint, but it's going to be doing it every 5 minutes.
Let's go see one.
So this station is different than a lot of stations you'll see, different than the province. It has more instruments than you would normally see. That measures snow depth through sonic signals. So it's called a sonic snow ranger, which essentially, if you listen and we're close to it, it would go tick, 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 and that sound bounces off the snow surface and then back up to the sensor. It measures how long it takes for that signal to bounce off the snow and back, and from that you get a distance to the snow surface.
Right.
And you also, when there's no snow on the ground, you get a distance to the ground. So you actually subtract that distance to the ground, bare earth ground, from the snow surface, and that's how you get snow depth. So we've got these manual measurements we've taken. We have weather stations, but they don't describe a very big area. Now we have this plane that flies in the sky, or a helicopter, that can map snow depth instead of over square meters, over hundreds of square kilometers.
Wait, there's more. Derek, thanks for meeting me on the slopes.
My pleasure. Always take a chance to get to the ski hill.
I thought so. I thought you were going to maybe do a couple of runs after this. Can you tell me how the remote sensing technology you use works?
Sure. So Hawkeye Institute has a mapping platform. We call it the Airborne Coastal Observatory. And that is essentially a plane with a series of mapping systems on board. And so the main system that we use is a laser scanner, and it's an active sensor, meaning it has its own source of energy, and it is emitting a pulse of energy to the ground, and there's targets on the ground that pulse of energy reflects off of, comes back to the plane, and we can measure the two-way travel time of that pulse of energy and basically attach a range to it. So in great precision and accuracy, we're able to map in a cloud the terrain below the airplane.
And so that gives you the ability to estimate snow depth over a large area in a relatively short period of time?
It does. The key thing is to be able to repeat the same areas. And so if we're able to fly over a given area in the summer, say, when there is no snow, and then we will repeatedly map that same area throughout the winter, say once a month, we're able to see how the snow fluctuates, how that fluctuates over space.
So how has this changed the game when it comes to measuring snowpack?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, the type of work that Bill Floyd and his team do, where they're in the field and they're taking direct measurements in situ, you're basically getting all these points on a grid, and so you're trying to interpolate between those. But with the Airborne Coastal Observatory, we're able to look at an entire area. So it's like a television, where if you turn it on, you're only looking at a couple pixels that turn on with the field measurements. As soon as the Airborne Coastal Observatory is taking measurements, the whole TV lights up.
That's a great analogy. So what trends have you already seen when it comes to climate change in our snowpack?
But what we've been seeing is basically, in some areas, declines or rapid pulses of snow in some areas. Where we are right now at Mount Washington has, for the past many weeks and months, I think, been have had an issue with drought and water scarcity. So I think that's lifting now with the snow coming in, but it's a concern for sure.
Well, I better let you test it out officially on the skis, I feel like.
Can't wait.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Coming up, we show you the butterfly effect on one woman's bake shop.
Hey, I'm Shane Mendonça. I make plant music, and this is how I do it. Basically, we attach two sensors to a plant, for example, this canna lily, and the electrical output from the plant is then registered by a biofeedback sensor over here, and this is then responsible for distributing data in the system. Now, this is a modular synthesizer, of course, and we use something called control voltage, which basically is something similar to like MIDI, but it works with voltage rather than data. And what we do here is we take these patch cables, all these cables like that, and we patch them into points and make connections through which this data can be distributed. In my system here, I have this biofeedback sensor that is a quad random generator, which means that it picks up signals from the plant and then uses all the data in a randomly distributed way to then move along the patch. This triggers a couple of samplers that I have here, and it also triggers one analog oscillator. And I've got effects in the system, a couple of sample players and MIDI playback devices, and some Swiss Army knife modules that you can kind of use as, depending what you desire. Now, all this is connected to, at this moment, it's connected to my Moogs here, the Moog grandmother, as we know, is a mono synth. And we have the DFAM, which is a drum machine, but I'm using it as a synth voice in this stage. And what happens here is that the plant is controlling these two synthesizers. So if I play some music and turn up the volume here, you're going to hear what the plant's doing. So the plant is controlling the LFO. It's also controlling the notes. So that gives you the whole musical kind of movement that we're used to. And the similar thing is happening over here with the DFAM. So these are playing in tandem, and that's what you get. It's plant music in a nutshell.
Welcome back to Our Vancouver. I'm Leanne Young. In the third episode of our Creator Network series, The Stubborn Baker, we hear from Jessica Kruger on what it's been like to create a community and the profound effect of decorating butterfly cookies with friends.
Surprise! You could just dab it on your paper towel before you touch your cookie if you have any doubts.
To me, community is just having a support system and being able to give back.
Yeah, so if everybody wants to open their boxes up and just pull their cookies out, set your box.
I think that I've been so blessed in my life to have an incredible community. They're supporting me, and hopefully I'm, supporting them in some small way as well.
Everybody will have guaranteed one smooth spot on at least one cookie.
Literally gonna be my best.
I teach my classes in a space that's outside of the kitchen I work out of. Yeah, just making sure that it's a fun experience for everybody. So when I initially had my accident, I was 15. I'd gone from being able-bodied, athletic teenage girl to suddenly feeling like I'd lost so many parts of myself and so many of the communities that I belonged to. And the idea of embracing the wheelchair sports community at the time just felt it would be admitting that I was never going to get that piece of myself back. Like I didn't want that to be my identity, I guess, at the time. But in the end, it was once I went to a wheelchair rugby practice and saw how people showed up with their wives, how they drove themselves there, how they were totally independent. Being a part of that community showed me all of the possibilities. Before I started my business, I wanted to be a teacher. I went to school and got a bachelor's degree and thought I was going to teach English one day.
All right, so we're doing 6 cookies today.
I think I like the idea of being able to expand someone's horizons in some way or, pass on a different skill to somebody.
We have our butterfly, which is going to be one of our more complicated designs today.
It's nice to feel like you have some sort of wisdom that you can share with people. Being able to connect with people is my favorite part of it as well.
We can do it, team. All right, we got this.
I feel so grateful for all of the opportunities that I've had. I keep pushing because I know I'm not going to let down that community that has supported me through everything. The biggest challenge for me is just the burden of feeling like I can't let people down, and sometimes that coming at the expense of my own sanity or well-being. Been trying to work on and find the balance of that. I'm a human that's growing and learning and can always be better, so I'm trying to be the best version of myself for me and for the community that I serve.
Yeah, I would start a little bit higher here though.
Just what I went in with
It's sleeping. It's sleeping. That's close. Close enough.
I'm gonna put eyelashes on it.
I feel like every time I teach a class, I learn something new because I'll say something one way the first time and then I'll see that that wasn't necessarily clear enough or somebody maybe didn't do it in the way that I was expecting them to.
Oh, a pirate cloud. I like what you did there.
But I also love that everybody brings their own creative touch and their own skill set to the classes as well. So to be able to see how people interpret what I say, I just feel really excited for them and blessed that I was able to teach them a skill that brought them that joy that hopefully they'll be able to continue using again and again. Feeling like I am where I am today because of the community is the reason that I push myself so hard and the reason that I want to be able to connect with them more and more.
Swinging.
My dream for the Stubborn Baker is to move into my own kitchen space, have a storefront and a little cafe, and just be able to expand into that community even more. I'm so grateful for the community that I've built so far, and the idea of being able to expand that reach even further is really exciting to me. Welcome to the Stubborn Baker's cookie decorating class. Today I'm going to show you how to make this fun butterfly design. So I've got my icings all lined up here already. I'll be working with black, white, and yellow. And I'm gonna work with a stiff consistency for my outlining and a flood consistency for filling in. So I'll start with my black outline consistency. You just wanna make your icing maybe 2 or 3 hours ahead of when you're gonna use it. So now that I have my outline, I'll come in with my black flood. So now I'm coming in with my yellow flood. And I'll start at the bottom here and just drag from the black down to where the wing meets the body of the butterfly, and just leaving a little gap between, do the same movement down towards where the wing meets the body. I'm going to come in with my white icing and just add those little white dot details at the top of the wing here as well. I'm just going to repeat that exact same step on all 4 other wings, and then we'll have our completed butterfly. Pick your favorite color and apply the tip, and you'll have something super special.
Anyone else feeling hungry all of a sudden? It was Pie Day this week, and so in the spirit of the occasion, we tapped one of the internet's foremost pastry wizards to bake us a logo that's literally as sweet as pie. Check it out.
Hi there, my name is Jessica Lee Clark-Bojan, but folks online call me The Pious, and I'm the world's first professional pie artist. Today we're going to be baking the CBC Arts logo as a yummy berry pie. My first step is to cut the gem shapes out so that the sparkly berry filling will show through the logo, and I'm adding a traditional crimped edge around the perimeter. With spring just around the corner, I thought I would zhuzh things up a little bit with some pretty little pastry flowers for added texture. And now we're ready to decorate. Using egg wash as glue, I'm going to paste the flowers around the pie and trim off any overlap with the cutouts. The last step before we're ready to bake is to give the whole thing a wash with vanilla extract mixed with a tiny bit of brown gel food coloring. And now for my favorite part, I get to eat my art. Thanks, CBC Arts. Your logo has never tasted so delicious.
When we bring you stories here at CBC Vancouver, we have award-winning photographers out capturing the images that say so much. These are some of the latest from what happened this past week. And that's all for our Vancouver this week. I'm Leanne Young. Bye for now.